They told us not to wear the saffron gold, the cloak, the mantle, stories old. They banned the green upon our sleeves, but still it grew beneath the leaves. Oh, the colours we wore were torn from our hands by kings and their laws in a foreign land. But thread by thread we stitched them back in saffron bright and the shamrocks black.
Hello, John.
Hello, Walter.
And so today we're going to talk about clothing. It's not just about fashion, clothing in Ireland. It's been about power, class, and identity. Nowhere is this more evident in Ireland, where clothing became a battleground between Gaelic traditions and English authority. In Gaelic Ireland, long before English conquest, dress reflected social rank and cultural pride. Nobles and chieftains wore brightly coloured saffron-dyed shirts and rich mantles, which ordinary people wore plain linen or homespun wool. The early Brehon laws even recorded fines and compensation for damaging clothing, proving its value as a marker of wealth and status. When the Anglo-Normans arrived, clothing quickly became political. By the 14th century, English authorities feared that settlers were going native by adopting Irish dress. To stop this, they introduced the Statutes of Kilkenny in 1366, which forbade English settlers from wearing Irish mantles, saffron shirts, or adopting Gaelic hairstyles and customs. To the Crown, Irish clothing symbolized rebellion, independence, and a refusal to submit. Quite amazing that you would think that the fashion would escape, but it didn't.
Well,
We're
you
just, they were,
would, and it shows you in some ways the extent to which Britain, in a neighbouring island like Ireland, who had its own tradition and culture, much the same as the Scotland has this business of still wearing these dresses they're the uniform that all of us wore even before when they got free of Britain for a while. They're still wearing those clothes, so they might have suffered some kind of thing. But we're talking about here, and in 1366, it seems a long time ago for this crowd in Britain to be doing this and about clothes. I mean, it's the last thing you think. It's the last thing you think any colonial power would be bothered about. The fact that Irish had clothes particular to their culture should have been encouraged. So the fact that it wasn't and suppressed means that they wanted them to be dressed whatever way they decided. Now, it seems a very strange move. It's very hard to comprehend that type of, what would I call it, peculiar rule and peculiar thing that they did about clothes.
yeah, this is the thing. I mean, these were called sumptuary laws, and it wasn't just Ireland. It was all over Europe at the time, that there was laws for different things about what you could and couldn't wear.
Right, well, that doesn't seem right. I mean, the fact that you had clothes that you could wear. We hope that in that period in Ireland, that people weren't in dire poverty, that they could, in fact, wear clothes. And if they were in business or whatever sort of occupation it might have, because they would be making a lot of goods like saddleries and all that type of. They would be making various goods that people had to sort of manage them times to have some standards, and so dress was something as well. It was good that people dressed, but they went a step too far. The British in we won't be bothered about what they did on the continent because maybe they're just as idiotic. But I don't recall the Irish dictating the dress code to the English.
That's right.
It was the other way about. And it seems a very peculiar and, what would they call it, cruel way to treat people. No respect for their culture.
That's it. I mean, it became a way to control and divide people, dictating what they wore, which is awful.
Well, you just wonder who they were dictating to. Was it? I presume they were Irish people that wore clothes, especially those that might have had some good means, that they could afford to have clothes that were suitable for the weather that we have here, and suitable for their culture and so on and so forth. I mean, that's an important aspect of a person's culture, the way they dress. And so the Irish had good, they had good respect for the way they dressed, as far as I know. And even at those times, I can visualize that their clothes would determine the seasons and so on and so forth. I mean, you're going to have to wear heavier clothes in the winter, and it doesn't matter what colour they are, but the British seem to be obsessed with this control freakery before they started persecuting people because they were Catholics in 1366. That didn't occur. It didn't occur until Henry VIII in 1600s. So there wasn't so much of that. But they were on about clothes. What else on the word down about? I don't think they took the land off people at those times, but they were obsessed. And what were they doing in the country? They must have come here earlier than 1366 if they were already um, at this racket about clothes.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the Anglo-Normans arrived, and then this kicked off, or did it kick? Yeah, I think it kicked off 1366. It was the Statutes of Kilkenny in 1366.
Yeah, there
So
was
I
a
mean,
parliament in Kilkenny, the Confederation of Kilkenny or something it was called.
yeah,
So they had some input, but I presume it wasn't Irish people that controlled that. It was the invader, if you like, in some ways the same as the Irish Parliament in the old Bank of Ireland building in the
College Green.
corner of Dame Street. So they didn't represent ordinary Irish people. They represented that particular colonial class, and dictating and giving it a name as if it was Irish, and it was quite the reverse.
There we go. We'll move on to our next video, which is about color in clothes, or lack of
Good,
at one
yeah, well,
point.
that might sounds good.
Sounds like a more colorful
Thanks, thanks,
subject.
Oliver.
Talk to you.
Yeah,
Bye.
okay, bye.